So as everyone is already aware that today's webinar is going to be very informative regarding how can we overcome the current pandemic situation. And also, we are somehow losing our sanity because this time it's also infecting children. COVID is hitting children as well. We have many reports where children got positive.
Not yet live, Pooja, not yet live. Wait.
Yeah.
I'll let you know 1 minute.
So we have many parents joined in. We have many students who have framed their own questions and they would put up their questions once we start speaking. Hello and a very, very good evening, everybody. Welcoming all of you to the webinar and the live session today, which is very informative regarding how to overcome the current pandemic situation and ensure protection to children. Well, I hope everyone is doing good. I hope everyone is keeping safe. COVID has hit us really, really bad, and we are going through the toughest times of our lives. But still, never to lose hope, because there is always a bright, sunny day after every dull night. There is always a new beginning after every end. So this is how together we can, together we will, and together we shall definitely overcome the pandemic. But we have to make sure that we follow all the safety measures, all the safety guidelines issued by the government. And we all know it quite well, like wearing a mask whenever in public place and not stepping out of your homes if it is not very necessary. Also maintaining social distance in public forum, having a good diet, having a healthy diet, and isolating yourself from the very first day that you start noticing the symptoms within you. So this is how maybe slowly and gradually we can, overcome the pandemic situation. But coming to the point, as in the first phase, we were still in a better state of mind because we knew that our children were safe. As children have the highest immunity in them, so COVID wasn't affecting them so much. But this phase, COVID is also affecting children. So we as parents are very, very concerned. We are really worried and bothered. Like, how can we increase the immunity of the children? What are the precautionary measures to be taken for kids? So if you are one parent, if you are a person who is really concerned about your kids, this is the right spot. This is the right stop, rather, where you'll get all the information. All your doubts will be cleared. Anything regarding COVID affecting children, like what are the symptoms and how can we increase the immunity of the children? What are the precautionary measures that we need to maintain for kids? Everything will be cleared here because we have our medical experts, our doctors who have joined in, and they will answer all the questions. We also have parents and students who have framed their own questions and they have joined in. So they will put up their questions once we start with a question answer session. So we will shortly start with the speech of the doctors. Well, before we start with the webinar, today's webinar is organized by St. Mary's Trust in collaboration with St. Mary's School and ACE Lorton under the banner of Loved Ones. So firstly, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Mrs. Stella Michael, Director, St. Mary's School, Mrs. Tanuka Shukla, Vice Principal, St. Mary's School, Mr. S. Anthony Michael, Chairman of St. Mary's Trust, Mr. Harpal Singh Thapar, Chairman of Mother Teresa Welfare Trust. Our speakers, Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua, a very well-known pediatrician, Dr. Daniel Avinash Joshua, a well-known pediatrician once again. Our respected guest, Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki, Chairperson, CWC East Singhbhum, Jharkhand. We have many more eminent personalities whom I'm going to slowly and gradually introduce once we start with the question and answer session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And we are also having many audience on Facebook page. So once we start the open forum for the question and answer session with the audience, we are going to let you know. And then the Facebook audience can post the questions in the comment section. We will try to take your questions and answer all of them. So now let me start by introducing our first speaker, Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua, MBBS DCH from CMC Vellore, pediatrician. Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua is basically an Anglo-Indian from Visakhapatnam. She is a famous pediatrician. She was at Christian Medical College, Vellore for 6 long years and later joined Dr. Joshua, her husband, to serve the needy at Garo Hills, Meghalaya. Very, very welcome to you. Speaker, Dr. Daniel Avinash Joshua. Dr. Daniel Avinash Joshua is basically a Tamilian from Bangalore. He's a renowned pediatrician. He was at Christian Medical College, Vellore, for 6 long years and later shifted to Meghalaya, where there are no two less medical facilities. He believes in serving the mankind and thus serves the SDA hospitals. Thank you for taking out your time and joining us. Well, I also take the opportunity to welcome our respected guest, Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki. She decided to be a mother of 40 children whom she adopted, who were either abandoned by their parents or somehow lost their parents. Committee of East Singhbum, Jharkhand. She has been awarded by Dainik Jagran for her commendable social work that she does. She is a very strong and a very dynamic lady who fights for the justice of women and children. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. So now we have many people who have already joined in. So I request our first speaker, Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua, to kindly speak on the topic immunity boosting in children. Doctor, over to you. So I request all the parents to stay tuned, because here all your questions, all your doubts are going to be clear. Any queries, any doubts in your mind, whatever regarding related to children and COVID. So we have our experts who are going to answer everything. But the first topic of discussion today is the immunity boosting in children. How can we boost the immunity in children so that COVID stays away from them? So basically, all the concerned parents, all the people who are very bothered with this. So I request Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua to speak on this topic. Do we have Doctor with us, or?
I think there's a network issue. We will go first with Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki, CWC Jamshedpur.
Okay, sure. So I request Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki to give a speech. She will speak on the topic guideline for child health. Ma'am, over to you. I request Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki to kindly speak on the topic guideline for child health. And as I told you, she's a lovely lady. She's a wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Before starting the topic which you have given, during this pandemic period, how to take care of the children or how to provide help to them. Okay, before that, I myself just want to introduce it, that I'm the chairperson of East Singhbum Child Welfare Committee. Now, in this scenario, especially, we have a vital role. Like when we are talking about 2 or 3 days ago, the center has passed one rule that has issued a new guideline for helping children who lost their parents, especially either the spouse are not there, or the children, those who are those who's both the parents, like if they are orphan or somewhat, we are working on the field of rehabilitation, especially. According to the public information issued by the Minister of Women and Child Development, people have been asked to call in 1098, that is childline number, to inform about any child who has lost both the parents. The Child Welfare Committee, whenever they are getting the information through, that is a headline for the children. If any children during this pandemic time are not about to reach to the CWC committee, they can just only inform or leave the message to 1098, especially. The childline people are going to come and help you, or they can forward the message to the local police station or the local administration. They are going to come to those kids and they are going to help them. They can provide them help over there, or they can produce in front of parents. Especially the CWC is working in the field of rehabilitation. Every district and every state, in every state, we have the state Supreme Court, he has quoted that at least two institutional, like non-institutional or the government institutional, should provide their necessary arrangement for these type of kids when they are coming to your place, or if they are coming into our knowledge. So where first problem is that when they are coming into our contact, to the CWC contact, तो स्पेशली हमको तुरंत बताया जाएगा, तो हम बच्चों को तुरंत रिहैबिलिटेशन के लिए जो जगह आइडेंटिफाई किया गया है उस जगह पे सुरक्षित by safely we can reach to them and make them convenient कि वहां पे जाके उनकी देखभाल अच्छी तरह से हो सके, whether it is a medical or whatever, सुविधा प्राप्त होगी. अभी बहुत सारे मिथ चल रहे हैं, या मिथ बोलेंगे या एडवर्टीजमेंट व्हाट्सएप में लिखा है वो कर रहा है कि समवेयर द चाइल्ड हैज बीन अबैंडन्ड, मतलब फुल्ली टोटल ऑर्फन बच्चे हैं, एंड इफ समवन वांटेड टू अडॉप्ट द चिल्ड्रन, तो वैसे बच्चे अगर हमको दिख रहे हैं तो तुरंत आ जाता है कि एडॉप्शन सेंटर से.
Sorry for the interruption, Pushpa ma'am. I request Arpita ma'am to kindly mute herself. Arpita ma'am, kindly mute yourself. There is voice coming from your side, so it's becoming a little difficult for us to hear Pushpa ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Please carry on.
Okay. I was just talking about that where we are, मतलब कुछ मैसेजेस ऐसे वायरल हुए हैं जिसमें ये है कि both the kids are of 2 or 3 years और adoption पे जाना है. तो ऐसे बच्चे जो हमारे पास में आ रहे हैं, तो लोग they start calling up कि मैम where we have received such messages and we wanted to adopt the children. तो adoption process पूरी तरह से it's under government, and वो कारा के थ्रू, कारा means Central Adoption Resource Agency is there. Already the government agency is working under it. जब हम CWC, when we are just finding these type of kids, उनको हम लोग लीगली फ्री करते हैं. इसमें एक बहुत बड़ा प्रोसेस है. लीगली फ्री करते हैं, उनके गार्जियन नहीं मिलते हैं. इफ वी आर सीइंग द चाइल्ड इज टोटली अबैंडन्ड, और ऑब्वियसली नो वन इज गोइंग टू कम इन फ्रंट टू टेक दिस किड, तो फिर वो लीगली फ्री होके देन एडॉप्शन एजेंसी के पास जाते हैं एंड एडवर्टीजमेंट निकलते हैं, और फिर वो एडॉप्शन प्रोसेस में जाते हैं. आप अगर बोलोगे कि हमको वो ऑर्फन बच्चा कोविड के टाइम में मिला है एंड आई शुड गेट दैट, तो वो आप किसी ना किसी ऑकवर्ड सिचुएशंस में आप फंस सकते हो. तो लॉफुली जो गवर्नमेंट ने प्रोसीजर स्टार्ट किया है, वी हैव टू मूव अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट.
Absolutely. I think Jyoti ma'am has joined in. Ma'am, yeah, please continue. Please continue.
The main thing is that abhi most of the children, they are approaching that like father has expired and mother is a housewife. Now they are in problem that how we are going to continue our education, further education system, how they are going to be enter into that. Now the thing is that if such type of children are there, they should be bring into the notice of CWC. Wherever, all over the state, wherever the CWC is there, or if you are unable to reach to CWC, just call 1098, that the child line. They will come and they will take your matters to CWC. They will produce the children in front of the CWC, and especially the government have started the scheme, like they are into the sponsorship schemes are there. They are engaging the children into these schemes. तो इस schemes के तहत इन बच्चों को हम लोग जो भी है फंड मतलब 2000 पर मंथ का है इन वन चिल्ड्रन वी आर गिविंग. तो उस वाले स्कीम के साथ हम लोग बच्चों को जोड़ सकते हैं. उसके अलावा अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कल ही अनाउंसमेंट किया है बहुत सारे मतलब ड्यूरिंग द डेथ ऑफ कोविड. अब हम लोग के साथ में थोड़ा सा दिक्कत आ रही है लाइक ड्यूरिंग द डेथ ऑफ कोविड और इन कोविड whether the parents had expired.
I'm again sorry to interrupt, Pushpa ma'am. I'm really, really sorry for the interruption, but we will have to take a break and again log out, then again log in from the same ID because this is Zoom and there is a time limitation. So we'll again continue from the point where you left. I'm so sorry, extremely sorry, apologies, but we have to take a break and again rejoin from the same ID. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's get straight to the point. Number one, precautional methods are the same that you would do for an adult. Number one, we need to make sure that every child is wearing a mask when they are going outside. So we know that masks are the mask is a very simple method, but it's a very protective method to prevent air droplets from coming into the body of a child. Now, it is very difficult for children to wear masks continuously. So, a lot of has to do with training, enforcement, and especially children less than 2 years of age. You really don't have to ask them to wear a mask. It's not mandatory for them to wear a mask less than 2 years, but of course, above 2 years, every child must wear a mask when they are going outside.
Doctor, your video is
Second thing
paused.
Okay. Videos.
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Okay. Second thing is correctly. So when we say we're wearing a mask, you have the string that is tied around your hair, around your ear, and then you have your mask, which is in front of your face, and that is covering part of your nose. Now, what happens is when children they like to wear their mask and put and touch the front part of the mask, which is highly infected because it's an airdrop infection. So the front part of the mask is very infective. So we need to educate the children so that they wear a mask and do not touch the front part of the mask. And also, after removing the mask, it has to be removed from the string behind the ear and put down. The second point that we need to make is hand washing. Hand washing is a very simple method to prevent COVID. It has shown a lot of research. In fact, my hospital here in Garo Hills, we have done a research study in which just simple hand washing has actually decreased the number of cases related to COVID in general. And in fact, we do not have even one single case of COVID because among the staff, because there was regular hand washing done after touching any patient. And so simple things like hand washing, we have a lot of sanitizers now in the market and things like that, but nothing can beat washing hands with soap. We recommend 20 seconds of washing of hands, and that will be equivalent to singing Happy Birthday song 2 times, and you will be able to finish washing your hand in 20 seconds. So that's one way of looking at it. So we said the first thing is wearing of a mask, mandatory for all children about 2 years to wear a mask. Mask should be always covering the mouth and the lower part of the nose. Second thing is hand washing with soap and water for a period of 20 seconds. And third thing is social distancing. Now, social distancing is something that is very difficult in children.
I request everyone else other than Dr. Daniel to please mute yourself. Everyone else is requested to please mute yourself other than Dr. Daniel. Please continue, Doctor.
Times neglected. So we recommend about six feet apart from moving from one another. Especially we're talking not about people inside the house, but people when they are going outside. Now, one more precautionary method that parents can do is do not take your children unnecessary outside or into a market or into any crowded places, because that's where they can catch the disease, catch the infection. So it is only recommended that if they are going to a hospital to go for a vaccination or to see a doctor, that is when they need to, they will need to get out. If not, they will need to be indoors as much as possible. Now, one more precautionary method that we can do is to identify the problem really early on. Now, there's a lot of studies shown that many of the children are having asymptomatic type of presentation in which they will not even have cold, cough, or fever, but they would just be infected but they will not throw up any symptoms. Now, in this case, the children becomes a super spreader because they are they have the infection with them, and they can transmit it or pass it on to the elder people who are vulnerable. So in any case, to prevent any transmission, we need to wear a mask, we need to wash your hands, and the third thing is to maintain social distancing. And some precautionary methods that you can take, and I think Dorothy will share about few other things that we can do to kind of strengthen your immune system, so that we can actually prevent the disease which is surrounding us. So these are few things that we can do. Apart from parents being vaccinated, because when parents are vaccinated, it really prevents the disease to affect them, and likewise also prevents the transmission from a parent to a child. One more thing that I need to emphasize is that you cannot tell your child to wear a mask if the parents themselves do not want to wear a mask. So a parent has to set the example. A parent should learn to understand that the behavior pattern is followed by a child. And so when a parent is careful, the child will also automatically follow in that footstep. Second thing, when washing hands too, if parents do not wash their hands, children will not wash their hands. And I think every parent, when they go out and come back, the first thing they need to do is to go into the toilet, wash their hands, and then step inside the house. These are some things that they can do. And the third thing is social distancing. And also it has to do with parenting. Once the parents follows it, the children will automatically follow that. So these are some basic precautionary methods that parents can take to make sure that children are protected. And Dorothy will share upon few thoughts about how we can help children strengthen their immune system, because that's going to be a very, very important area where children which are now homeschooled, they have a different life. They think they are on a complete holiday, and so they can eat junk, they can play, they can use the television and things like that. So Dorothy will look into those areas. And thank you so much for listening. If there's any questions, I'll be very, very happy to take. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel. Thank you so much. We got to know about a lot of precautionary measures to be taken for kids, like coming to a conclusion now, like the major points: to wash their hands regularly, and also to wear a mask, not to touch your mask from right from in front, rather to open it from behind your ears. And also asymptomatic kids are also there. The children are there who have no symptoms. So it is always better to keep social distancing. And very rightly said, children always follow what the parents do. So the parents themselves should wash their hands frequently, wear a mask in public place, so that even the children follow the same. Thank you so much, Doctor. We are more than delighted to have you. Thank you. Any questions from Dr. Daniel? Anyone who would like to ask a question? Mrs. Arpita Datta is there with us, a teacher and also a member of SARWO Garden Ridge, Kolkata. So, ma'am, if you are there with us, you can ask your question.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening. So wonderful information shared by Doctor. So we all know, but since you have told such important things, it will be definitely very helpful and very useful to everyone, each and everyone. A simple question I would like to ask Doctor, that why are more children in India testing positive for COVID-19 during the second phase? We have seen the first phase, but the first phase was much better for the children. But I would like to ask why the second phase is worse for the children. That is, why are more children in India testing positive for COVID-19 during the second wave? Doctor, please, if you can.
Dr. Daniel, thank you for the question.
Yeah, I think this is a very valid question. This question is brought up many times by a lot of people. Well, the question here is, the virus was a little different when it was on the first wave. The first wave, we did not see variants of the virus. So right now we have seen we have seen at least 2 to 3 mutated forms of the virus. In other words, if I have to put it in a very simple language, in the first wave, it is like a thief coming inside the house. So the first time the thief comes inside the house, you do not know. Now, the thing is, the second time, you know the thief is coming to the house, so you're prepared. But this time, the thief is very smart. So he will come like your milkman. And so he gets inside fooling you because he's understood you a lot much better. And we have the other variant where they will come looking, they will be just like maybe your relative or somebody in the family. So it fools the immune system really well. So as the disease progresses, and as we get further and further into the waves, we have the first wave, the second wave, the third wave. The more the number of the waves, the more children are going to be affected, because they have always been the area where COVID-19 has found it very difficult to penetrate, because children's immunity is very much stronger and they are used to having a lot of cold. And so very often children are usually the ones who are spared. In fact, the first wave and the second wave, the number of children compared to the first wave, second wave is a lot more. But compared to the adults, the number of children that are affected is very, very less, very, very less. And we have also seen that the number of mortality in children is comparatively to adults very less. So the answer to the question is, why do we see more children affected in the second wave? It is because the virus has mutated into a newer form, which is more infectious, and that is why children are being affected more than what it was during the first wave. Is that okay with the answer?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, doctor. We are delighted to have such wonderful explanation.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. I hope your question is answered. Well, now before the network goes off, before the network goes off again, I request Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua, who is with us, to kindly speak on the topic immunity boosting in children, and all the parents who are really, really worried, how can we increase the immunity in children? So Dr. Dorothy is here, who is going to give you a proper explanation about it. Over to Dr. Dorothy, please.
A very good evening to all the members on Zoom platform. And I want to thank Madam Stella Michael for giving us this wonderful opportunity to address issues related to COVID-19. And
Doctor, I'm sorry for the interruption. Your video is, you're not visible to us. So maybe if you can turn the camera towards you. Perfect. Thank you.
First of all, I want to apologize for the delay. We had terrible network issues, and now, as you can see, we are actually sitting in our car outside the hospital so that we can have network. And I'm really delighted to be part of this Zoom meeting, Zoom webinar. I want to thank Madam Stella for giving us this opportunity. So for our topic, immunity boosting in children, I would like to start with saying, I know with COVID, the pandemic hitting us really hard through media, through neighbors dying, and, people being on the ventilator, we all are actually very anxious, and we are looking for answers to the many questions that people have. And let us be assured in this, that the human body is an amazing creation of God. And God has actually blessed us with a good immune system. It is already well capable to attack the enemies that enter our body unaware and cause disease. But as humans, we have a role to play. We need to understand how best we can keep our immune system in the best condition possible. So if you're looking for a magic solution that says, like, pop this pill and your immunity is going to be, excellent, I'm sorry, there's no such pill. So for all the parents here, let's go back to basics. And I would like to talk about a little information about the immune system in our body. For children or for adults, we have two types of immunity. One is the innate immunity, which we are born with. This immunity is passed over from the mother to the baby. And these antibodies that are passed over to us protect us in the early phase of childhood. That is the first 1 year, the first 8 to 9 months specifically. So that is why, like, babies in the first year, after the first year, they are more prone to infections. But that is fine, because as the body is exposed to infections, the immune system begins to identify the different bacteria, different viruses in the environment, and it starts, it gets a jump start and learns to fight the infection. So that is called the acquired immunity. Okay, so we are born with an innate immunity, and then we have something called the acquired immunity. And plus, we also encourage Indian children to take all the government recommended vaccines, because in India, we are prone to so many more diseases with much high mortality. So having said that about basic immunity, what I would say is the best way to keep your immunity, which is your white blood cells, happy and always on the go, ready to fight the infection, is to number one, eat a very healthy diet. Okay, now we are all shut indoors in this pandemic. Maybe some of you are in cities where you have like Zomato at the click of a button, and all you want to do is get some pizza or burgers or some junk food. All this is not going to actually help our immunity. So I would recommend and advise all the parents, please concentrate on the basics. The basic is to have a balanced diet. Okay, a diet that is rich in vitamins, minerals, which is freely available in the fruits and vegetables that we eat. You don't have to go for expensive fruits and vegetables. The very common vegetarian diet as possible. Okay, because it is simple, easy to be digested, and you avoid infections that come from when you consume non-vegetarian diet. Apart from that, mainly avoid junk. I know a lot of children at home, they always want to eat something. Mommy, make me this, mommy, make me that. And then you're on the YouTube checking out the latest dessert, or, but again, high sugar diet is a big no-no if you want to have a strong immunity. High sugar diet, it puts your white blood corpuscles at higher risk. They are not at the best functioning. They're not functioning at their optimum. So again, you are at high risk to contract any infection. Okay, so a good balanced diet, avoiding junk. The next thing I would say is having an exercise schedule even while you are indoors. I know as parents and children now trapped inside, you're getting bugged with each other. But if you can spend half an hour in the morning and evening, get together, parents and children, come up with some exciting, simple indoor activities, like even skipping, this skipping for half an hour is really good. Even if you can do it for 10 to 15 minutes, parents and children likewise. It increase your blood circulation. And when your blood circulation is increasing, it helps all your organs in the body to function at their optimum. So once again, apart from diet and avoiding junk, number 3 is exercise. Okay. Another most important factor that we often neglect is water. Something that's so simple, so easily available at home. Especially when you're indoors and you're not burning your calories, you don't feel the need to drink enough water. But I think we need to set alarms and drink water at regular intervals, parents and children likewise. Okay. When we drink enough water, again, our blood organs are well perfused. It's like a garden that is always watered, and the plants and the leaves look healthy. So that's how it is. We need to drink enough water. Now, the next important thing to build your immunity is spending some time in the sun. Because as you know, the sunshine vitamin that we call vitamin D is a very good immune stimulating vitamin. Especially, it's very important for our lungs, our respiratory system. So for those of you who can spend time in sunshine on the terrace or in your balconies. I recommend that you spend at least 10 to 20 minutes in sunshine, where you can expose some parts of your body directly to the sunshine, because that's how your vitamin D is produced in the body. For those of you who do not have the privilege, I would say please take some supplements of vitamin D, which is good enough. So apart from your nutrition, apart from exercise, apart from sunshine and water, the major thing that we're all going to face is, though we are only focusing on immunity, let me tell you that we all are facing so many addictions, which is also during this pandemic, which is definitely going to affect our mind, because research has shown that addictions lower the mental capacity of human beings. Okay, so when we get glued to the screens for a long time, you are not functioning to your best optimum mentally. And so when you hear to any media that is bombarding you with all the scary news, you're not going to have the mental capacity to bear that. Okay, so parents are going to be anxious, children are going to be anxious. So the best thing would be to stop news channels that are scaring you. Yeah. So addictions, keep away from anything that's causing addiction. For children, they are playing video games, they're playing mobile games, or whatever it is that in your family. Check out what are the addictions that you are facing, and come up with some ways in which you can overcome those temptations. Probably you all can get together as a family, play Ludo, play Housey or Scramble, whatever it is. Find some exciting ways in which, instead of focusing on the negative, you start focusing on the positive, because that is very important for the mind. So when the mind stays positive, you don't easily get caught up with the negativity in the world. Okay. The next thing I would say is, please spend some time doing some deep breathing exercises, which helps in the increased oxygen supply to the brain and to the heart and to the other organs in the body. These are simple things that you and I can do. See, there are many weapons you need to fight COVID-19, but we don't have all the weapons. The weapons we don't have is, we don't have oxygen, we don't have oxygen concentrators, we do not have ventilators, and we don't even have beds. The only weapons we have, and they are easily available, is, like Dr. Dennell said, hand washing, masking, staying indoors as much as possible. And the other weapons like that I have shared is staying on a good diet, practicing some exercise, spending some time in the sunshine, avoid addictions, come together as family, have regular intervals where you drink water, make sure your children keep a track on how much water they drink. Every time they drink, give them a small star or whatever, but a positive enforcement. Yeah, and deep breathing exercises, which will help your air circulation and increase oxygen to your lungs. And one more important thing, what many people are neglecting, is the biological clock. With all of us stuck at home, we think we can sleep late at night, wake up late in the morning, and sometimes the quality of our sleep is not good because we have probably slept watching a late night movie, or we'll be playing away to glory on PUBG or whatever. And then your quality of sleep is at stake. You know for yourself that you haven't been sleeping well. As well as, I must again reinforce, the news on the television is giving everybody nightmares. And many people are actually going through anxiety, depression, and mental health issues. Okay, so please, you need some good sleep hygiene. 1 to 2 hours before you sleep, if you can just turn off all kind of media, turn off your phones, or just take emergency calls if you can, but try to calm down. Maybe spend some time in prayer, read a book. Parents can read stories to your children. These are simple basics, but it makes a whole world of a difference to children. Okay, the last thing that I would say is, we all exist and we've all overcome the first wave, and even right now overcome the second wave, alive and still kicking, all thanks to the Father in heaven. So as we put our trust in God and believe that He will save us through this pandemic. We will have that hope and assurance, and that improves the quality of our life. There is no single pill that will boost the immunity of your child. Can I tell you this again? The only simple principles is back to basics. I would call it New Start. NEWSTART. N for nutrition, E for exercise, W for water, S for sunshine, T for temperance. Temperance means you maintain a balance of everything. No, avoid addictions. Okay. Then A is for air. Do deep breathing exercises. R for rest, getting enough sleep. T is for trust in God. So with this, I would like to thank you once again for your listening and for giving me an opportunity to share a little knowledge that I have in this pandemic. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Jyoti. Really very informative, like how to boost the immunity, and also the New Start is like everyone will understand and everyone will remember the points exactly what we need to remember. And also coming to a conclusion, mentioning the major points like to take a proper, a healthy diet and to avoid junk food, and also to start with exercising, start breathing exercises, and also taking good amount of sunshine, avoid any kind of addiction. So these are the things, and also very rightly said, do not panic because it is affecting our health, but at the same time it is also affecting our mental health. So we should be calm enough and we should avoid all the negativities around. Thank you so much, Dr. Jyoti. In spite of all the network issues, both of you have joined us from the hills from Meghalaya. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much. Well, so now we'll take question, doctor. And so I request Mrs. Tanuja is there with us. Mrs. Tanuja Shukla with us. She is the Vice Principal of St. Mary's School, CKP, Jharkhand. She is here to represent the school. I request ma'am to please put up your question.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I have a query.
Hello, ma'am.
What if a child tested positive for COVID? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am. Yes, you're audible.
Hello.
Yes, her question.
Yes, you're audible, ma'am. Please.
Yes, her question was what if a child is tested positive for COVID?
Okay. So, what if a child is tested positive for COVID-19? What are the precautionary measures to be taken then? So, once the child is already tested positive, so what we need to do? So, we request Dr. Daniel to please answer the question. Doctor, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Measures are mentioned, maybe, yeah.
Okay. See, the thing is, most of the children who are tested positive may or may not have any symptoms. So your treatment is going to be based symptomatically. We actually categorize COVID-19 based on clinical presentation into A, B, C category. So A category is usually the ones in which are having just some cough and cold without any symptoms, any other symptoms. B are the ones with respiratory difficulty, needing some oxygen, and C are the ones who probably need an ICU care. So if it is just an A category with just cough and cold, we can treat the child symptomatically with some paracetamol for the fever and with a cough syrup, and they may need a course of antibiotic, and usually with that they usually subside. So 80% of COVID-19 symptoms in children is similar to any type of a flu. So there's really nothing much to panic, except that we need to keep a close watch on the oxygen saturation, respiration, and make sure the diet of the child is adequate. So these are few things. Yeah. One more thing is, once a child is tested positive, the child may not be so affected, but the grandparents of the children are the ones who are higher risk. So in homes where grandparents, many times we have cases over and again. In fact, now I've just got a message from one of my patients who's a 8-month-old baby is tested positive. But see, the baby will go very smoothly. Thing is, the grandparents in the house are the ones who are going to be affected. So mostly 80 to 90% of the cases in children will be very, very minimal. All we need to do is, if they're within the A category, nothing to worry. B is what they will need some oxygen, where you will need to take them to a hospital. And as much as possible, try to keep them away from older people who are non-vaccinated, people who are higher risks. That's what I would tell you. Thank you. Over to Pooja. Yeah.
Thank you so much, doctor, for clearing doubts.
Thank you so much. Our question is answered, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Okay. We have Harsh Agarwal has joined us. Harsh is currently a high sensor X. It is a biotechnology startup through which they are trying to develop a high sensor X. It is a biotechnology startup through which they are trying to develop a simple, low cost and completely non-invasive strip-based device to detect pancreatic or any other gastrointestinal cancers through saliva. Since the last 2 years, they had the substantial progress. They have completed with their first batch of validation and are currently in the second one. So he is presently working with some of the prime mentors and doctors from across the country and even from the US. This year in January, he had been awarded the Bal Shakti Puraskar by the Honorable President of India for his work. It is the highest bestowed to an individual under the age of 18 in India. Congratulations, Harsh, and thank you so much for joining in. I hope you are there with us. So if you are still connected, I request Harsh to please put up his question. Harsh,
He's facing network issue, I think. Please go to the next one. He'll be there in a short while.
Mr. Harpal Singh is is he with us?
Yeah, he's there with us.
Okay, so we have Mr. Harpal Singh Thapar. He is the chairman of Mother Teresa Welfare Trust as well as a motivational speaker from Jamshedpur, Jharkhand, and NGO running an orphanage all by themselves. So he is the father of many abandoned kids. He is here with us. Sir, I request you to kindly put up your question. Mr. Harpal Singh Thapar, sir.
Hello.
This
Am I
question
audible?
is,
Yes, sir.
this question I think is for Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki.
No, ma'am. My question is to the doctors
Yeah.
in the panel.
Okay, sir.
Actually, I wanted to talk about the immune system, but as ma'am with the same topic, and I want her to comment on one particular issue. That is, okay, the immune system, boosting of the immune system is well and good, but now I don't know whether they are the rumors or there's some reality in it. We have been listening time and again from the media, from government people, from ministers also, that the third wave is about to enter our country and the children will be most affected. So, are there any suggestions from the doctors in the panel, as they are very learned persons? Question goes to them. First thing is there any reality in the third wave? And if yes, will it affect the children? And again, if yes, what should we do?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Mr. Rajpal Thapar.
sir. Over to Dr. Jyoti.
Yeah, thanks, Ms. Pooja. Am I audible, sir, ma'am?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, sir, the third wave, as many are speculating, is something that is every pediatrician is spreading it. And should that happen, definitely children are at risk, because as of now, the vaccine can be given to all adults 18 years and above, but children cannot be given that vaccine. Conducting its trial on children, if that vaccine gets approved, probably we should get it and vaccinate as all the children in our country. Because as of now, we only know if the vaccine is the only way out. Not that you will not get the infection, but if you get the infection, your chances of going on a ventilator and succumbing, going to the category C is going to be really minimal. And there's hardly any deaths among those who have got both the doses of vaccine. So I would say, sir, fingers crossed and hoping that God will let this third wave just pass through and not touch the children. But yes, we are dreading it. There are speculations that it can happen, and we should be prepared. So if there are parents on this group who are not immunized, I would say please get immunized. And for those who are taking care of orphanages, maybe all the adults who are taking care of the children should definitely get vaccinated, because you are going to be taking care of these children on a long-term basis. You have to be the ones who will not transmit it to the children who are living in your orphanages, etc. So, sir, have I answered your question?
No, am I audible?
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am, thank you so much. You have answered the question very well. And there's one more issue, ma'am. When the second wave was at the peak, I was following Dr. K.K. Agarwal's videos on YouTube. God bless his soul. What he often used to say was that if the children are below the age of 10 years, then they are not at risk because their immune system is strong enough. So he said, even if they are affected, you need not worry. And even in his online calls, online chats and talks, when parents used to tell him that my child is suffering or having such symptoms, the only thing he used to say was stop bothering about the child because he is out of risk. So now in the third wave, will that strong immune system of the children be helpful? That's my last question, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. So what we are scared is that every wave is bringing in a new variant of the virus. And every new variant is going to be stronger than the previous one. So that is what we are dreading, that should we have a very virulent virus, it probably the children will come to it. Like right now, among the 100%, if you say 60 to 70% are asymptomatic, and then maybe a 15-20% are mildly symptomatic, and they'll probably just less than 5% who are going on ventilator. Okay, but should we face the third wave, the percentage of children who will probably go into the moderate and the severe category is going to be larger. And then, taking care of a child in an ICU is very, very challenging. When an adult is in an ICU, it's a nurse who's taking care of an adult. But you can't have a nurse taking care of a child all by herself, which means that mother of the child also has to be in the ICU. So it's going to be very, very challenging to take care of children once they go into the moderate and severe categories. So this is why we feel like, and India has the largest population of children, as you all know. So should the third wave kick in and we are not prepared, probably the children will be affected more. Also because, by God's grace, many of the adults are getting vaccinated. The vaccination program has already kicked in, and many of us have already got 2 doses of a vaccine as well. But for children right now, there's no way out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jyoti. Thank you. I think, Mr. Harpal, your question is answered.
Yeah, sure. Thanks to both sir and ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you for your question. You are doing, sir.
Thank you so much. Well, I've already introduced. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, I've already. Sorry, ma'am. I couldn't hear you.
Actually, we do have a website, and I will share it on the, share it with you. Probably those of you who would like to have, personal questions, you can message us or make an appointment online. So we'll be happy to help you.
Sure, ma'am. Yeah. Please share the link with us. We'll definitely share with all of them. Thank you. So we've already introduced Harsh. So Harsh wasn't there with us then, but now Harsh is here. So I request Harsh Agarwal to please put up your question, Harsh, and we direct this question to Dr. Denel. Harsh.
Thank you so much for giving me the chance. I'm so sorry for the delay last time. My question is directly targeted towards the children. So children who have pneumonia and asthma and these sort of diseases, are they more at risk of catching the virus, or are they more at risk to actually having a prolonged effect of the virus?
Thank you for the question. Dr. Denel to please answer.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely children who are asthmatics, children who are on inhalers are higher risk than children who are not on any, have no comorbid conditions. Yeah. But a few things that we will just need to emphasize is, number one is children who are asthmatics and are using nebulizers. We would request you to switch on to inhalers. Inhalers is a lot more, because nebulizer is it's more like an aerosol kind of thing, and so we would recommend that children who are using nebulizers to switch to inhalers. Directly answering to Mr. Harsh's question, definitely children who are having some kind of respiratory compromise already are at higher risk. So which means that you need to be a lot more careful with children who already have a pre-morbid condition.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I hope your question is answered already, Harsh.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Harsh,
So,
congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so much.
Thank you. So now, without any further ado, we have Ruchi with us. So we'll take Ruchi's question. Ruchi is currently pursuing her BA LLB from the Department of Law, Calcutta University. So I request Ruchi to please put up a question.
Good evening, everyone. My question to the panel, actually, as some reports tell us that the third wave is going to be even more deadlier for the kids, for the children than to the adults. So are there any like special symptoms which we are going to see, or are there any specific, like what are the common symptoms we can see between the adults and the children, if there is any research or analysis put on that?
Okay, thank you, Miss Richi. I hope you don't sue me for not answering.
No, sir.
Okay. Now that we already know what's this we only time can tell. But as of for now, apart from the three major symptoms, we can expect a fever with rash. We can expect some conjunctivitis, loose stools, vomiting. These are things that we can see apart from the basic symptoms. But we do not know how the third wave may present. But I guess that at least within the symptoms, we can actually able to identify the problem and get them tested early on. Am I clear?
Much, doctor. Yes, noted, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Aman Raj with us, a student of higher secondary St. Xavier School, Ranchi, a cricketer who represented Jharkhand for under 16 India Group B in 2017, also for under 19 India Group B in 2018. He's a part of the founder of Teen Stories by Aman Raj. Welcoming you, Aman. I request you to put up your question here.
Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction to the panel. Is that are children the super spreader of the virus?
The question is already answered, but still,
Yeah, so actually, we can't call children as the super spreader of the infection because children are not actually out there in the public. Most of them are indoors. The super spreaders are those who don't wear a mask, who always are found in crowded places and don't follow hand hygiene. And then they go back to their respective homes or meet relatives and they spread it to their children, their grandparents, and so. So for children, they are the most vulnerable population, but they are not super spreaders.
Okay, but they can affect the older folks. And they can be
super spreader, maybe in a way, if you call them, like you don't know that a child is having COVID, but if they are asymptomatic and have the virus, you don't know that they can infect the whole family. So maybe in that way, you could call them, but yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. Aman, I hope your question is answered.
Yes, ma'am.
So because we are lacking time, so we will do a little faster. We have Manya Jaiswal with us. Manya, currently she is pursuing her ISc from Shigali Hill International Academy, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. She has joined us from all the way from Uttarakhand. So I request Manya to please put up her question. Manya.
Unmute, Manya.
Manya, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. My question is,
Manya, please unmute yourself. You're not audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
So
please
sorry.
Good evening, doctor. My question is that how long does the COVID virus live on in the surface?
How long does the COVID virus stay on the surface, doctor? We may direct the question to Dr. Daniel if there. I think there's an.
Hi, Ms. Pooja.
Hello. Yeah, doctor. The question is,
we have found that the virus actually stays on surface for 12 to 18 hours. So that is why we recommend that, the high touch areas of your house, like if you've gone outdoors and come in, the doorknob which you use to unlock your house, or the first things, your keys or locks, whatever you touch, those areas will need to be disinfected, so that just in case you're exposed to the virus, you're not spreading it. It's not sitting around in your house and replicating.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Jyoti. I hope your question is answered. Manya? Yeah, thank you. So the last question, well, we have Shrijan Bhagiria with us, and he has passed his 12th from DAV Pushpanjali, Delhi. Currently, he is preparing for JEE Engineering Entrance Examinations. He belongs to a family of social workers, especially Rotarians. He is also an ex-student of St. Mary's School, CKP. So I request Shrijan.
I think Dr. Dorothy is left because they have an inspection in the hospital. We'll quit this question. And I would like to give the vote of thanks. I express my gratitude to Dr. Daniel Avinash Joshua and Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua. Dr. Dorothy Mary Joshua is very close to my heart, and I know her since childhood, and I to Zoom and give us very knowledgeable information. I thank all the participants here. I thank Mrs. Pushpa Rani Tirki. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being there. And Mr. Harpal Singh Thapar and all the other students, Harsh Agarwal, Aman Raj, Manya Jaiswal, and all the sponsors, I should say, ACE Laurathon team, loved ones, and also from St. Mary's School. So thank you, each one of you, for being part of us. And we hope that we will get you some more good webinars like this, much upgraded ones. Sorry for whatever interruption that has taken place. Thank you so much. Stay safe and stay home. And I have one suggestion, that is, it's better to be safe than to be sorry. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for this webinar. Thank you so much to St. Mary's Trust and St. Mary's School and ACE Laurathon under the banner of love. Signing off, and thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much. Stay safe.